y'all? You're tuned in into my new podcast, Azii Speaks. I am your host, Miss Asia Danielle. Let's chat. If you don't know me or if you've never seen my face before, hey girl. Or if it's not a girl, it might not be the girl. Okay, no. My name is Asia. I'm 26 years old. I started this podcast because I just feel like not a lot of conversations are being held about what's going on in your 20s. And when I hit 25, y'all, my life, like, literally changed. I moved out of my mom's house. I had strict parents growing up. So when I moved out of my mom's house, I was so happy. I thought I was on top of the world, child. I had my own place. I had nobody at my house. I was sad. I was depressed. I hated it so bad. I was in the hood off Old National. If you're in Atlanta, you know. But, yeah, I was just so sad. And then I had to leave because the apartment was trash, ghetto as fuck. Do not recommend. Sorry, mama, because I know she watching. Oh, my God. But do not recommend. But I'm so thankful for my mama because she let me back in her home. And I feel like everything happened in its perfect timing because when I had to move back home, I was lost. I stopped doing my business. I started my business when I graduated high school, but it didn't work out how I wanted it to work out. And I was feeling away because I always told myself, girl, once you move out, you not moving back in. Like, that's it. That's all. But recession happened, pandemic happened, inflation happened. Like, literally everything shot up. I thought I could afford it. Girl, I had one piece of tissue, no groceries, barely any furniture. Like, y'all, it was so bad. So, if you got to move out, make sure if you got it good at home, girl, stay at home. I don't want to say girl because it be men too. I don't forget my boys. But it's bad. It's hard out here. But that's why I started my podcast because I was at home in my mama's house. I didn't know what to do. I didn't start college. I mean, I went to college for a little bit, but I didn't graduate college. So I didn't know what to do. And I was depressed. I wasn't eating. That's how I know when I'm depressed because I don't eat. And, yeah, it was just bad. So I got me a journal. And I recommend journaling, y'all. I love journaling. But I got me a journal, and I was just writing my thoughts down, talking to God, and I came up with the podcast idea. I really wanted my friends to be in on it with me, but they got kids, they got children. So I said, you know what, I'm going to just do it. And I started talking to God. And I'm just like, you know what? It's confirmation because I didn't tell nobody I wanted to start my podcast. But it was confirmation for me. And it's honestly sad because from now, that was back in November. It's now late March, early April. And I'm just now shooting my first episode. But it's okay. But that's why I wanted to talk about fear of failure. Because we be so in our head, so much doubting ourselves, talking ourselves out of everything we want to do, our goals, our dreams, our aspirations. And I've always been that type of person my whole life. Like, I hated sticking to the script. Like, I want to do what I want to do. And that's always how I've been. But when you're a person like that, you have to be a little bit delusional about your dreams and about your goals because you're the only one pushing it. Like, you're the only one that's going to make sure it's successful or if it fails. And when I think of failure, I think of when I was in school and, like, when we fail, we didn't know the material. But when you get into the real world and you fail, it's like, what is failure? Who's to tell you that you failed, honey? Like, nobody is to tell you that you fail. You make your own rules. That's the beauty of it. And the unknown part is the most scary part about it because you don't know. And I get it because that's how I was for 5 months, talking myself out of something that I love to do. I love talking. I love just having conversations with different people, and that's what I want Azii Speaks to be about. I want us to be a safe space. I want us to be a community. I want us to just help each other. Like, being 20s is hard. Me and my friends talk about it all the time. It's literally always something after something after something. And I feel like it never gets easier. You just learn how to deal with stuff better. So, it's crazy because right now they're talking about Savannah James. If y'all don't know who that is the wife of LeBron James. But they're talking about her right now starting her own podcast, and I seen so many different people on Twitter, especially men, trying to talk her out of starting her podcast because y'all want women to sit in the corner and be silent, shut up, and sit and look pretty, but that's not what it gives, baby. Like, I want to be in front of the camera. I got something to say. I want to talk, and y'all saying that she gonna mess up her mystique, whatever that is. Like, y'all don't even know this lady, first of all. Y'all don't know this lady. She married to a billionaire. I'm sure she don't give a crap what y'all gotta say. But, yeah. But mentally, that's how I was when I started my podcast. Like, I was just looking at so many people say negative things about people having a podcast. But it's like, why are y'all so upset about somebody having something to say? And that's what made me talk myself out of not starting mine, too. Because I feel like we live in this social media era where everybody feel like they can say whatever they want to say. I mean, like, growing up, my mama would say they always gonna have something to say. But it's different now. Like, people got something to say about every little thing. And that's why people are so afraid to be themselves, like, be authentic and show up as who they are because they don't want to be judged. And you can't be like that. I don't know. For me, I always been like a person who didn't care. I don't care. I never will care because at the end of the day, you're going to talk yourself out of whatever you want to do, and you're going to be upset with yourself, not nobody else. So, mentally, getting back to where I was. Mentally, I was unhappy, confused, depressed, just a lot of different emotions. I was upset with myself. I feel like I failed myself because I had to move back home, and I was just like the biggest battle for me. Not only that, I was dealing with somebody who I thought that I was in love with, child. And dealing with heartbreak and just men in general, that can take a toll on you as well. But in the space where I was heartbroken and confused about life and men in general, I would write down literally everything in my journal. I love my journal. Oh my God. I don't know what I would do without my journal because that literally got me through my heartbreak, y'all. I was so sick. I was so sick. I wasn't eating. And it be like I was just, I don't know, I was emotionless. Like, I was numb. I wasn't feeling, I wasn't talking, I wasn't being who I was. And when I got out of it, I prayed to God. I'm like, God, please. Please, God, if you let me get out of this, I promise I'll never love again. I'm just playing. But I really had to literally, when you pray over that nigga and you tell him and you tell God to get you out of that situation, girl, you better not ever go back for real because you had to pray for real and don't play with God. But when that happened, I was just like, I need to talk about this. Like, nobody is talking about this. Like, the literally pits of heartbreak. So I went through my first real heartbreak. Because y'all know them play heartbreaks. They don't be for real. But I feel like I went through my first real relationship. I'm a late bloomer. BTW, if you didn't know. I was going through my first real relationship, what I thought was love. Turned out it might not have been love. I don't know, child. It'd be still confusing. But just that moment of me, like, not having that person no more after spending a lot of my adult years with him really changed my perspective, and it, like, really, it just shook my world up a little bit. So, I was sick, I was angry, I was depressed, I was mad, I hated life, I hated myself for even allowing somebody to do that to me. Like, y'all know once you be in something, like, you be blinded, you don't really see nothing but the person you dealing with. And then when you get out of it, you, like, you sit and you think, and you just like, You really just did that? That's how that I was going through every emotion, and then it's harder to be with somebody who don't see, or you'll never get that explanation of why you did that. You didn't have to do that to me. But yeah, I was just sick, depressed, not eating, not, and I feel like I gained a stronger spiritual connection, because I always had like a connection with God, but I feel like in that moment I was so helpless. Like I couldn't. I mean, you can talk. I was talking to my friends. I was talking to my mama, but they only gonna give you so much advice and so much peace and so much joy. Like nothing hits different from that peace you receive from God, and especially if you say that prayer. Y'all know what prayer I'm talking about. When you say that prayer about him removing people that shouldn't be in your life, and it happens, you just gotta accept it and you gotta go with it. And I started fasting. I'm still in my fast. It ends tomorrow on Easter. So happy Easter, by the way, when y'all watch this. But yeah, I started fasting. I started working out. I started eating better. And have I healed? Do you really heal? I don't think people really heal. I really just think you learn how to cope with the cope better with whatever you come to next. So I don't want to dig too deep into relationship advice, because the only advice I got for y'all is to leave that nigga. Leave him right now. Leave that nigga, girl. But just kidding, don't leave him. But yeah, so that's what I want this podcast to be about. Just different stuff we go through as women, as men. Um, Now I want to talk about what I've been obsessed with. This segment of the podcast is going to be like what I've been obsessed with for the week. And it could be anything, but for me, I've been obsessed with this song. Hold on, I gotta show y'all. Okay, so it's by Doechii and JT. It's called Alter Ego. And it's just basically like when I listen to it, I just think about affirmations. Like, girl, you that girl, and can't nobody tell you. But I'm talking to men too. It's just affirmations, like just reminding you of who you are. Can't nobody mess with you. Can't nobody see you. And that's how I'm feeling right now. I'm starting something new in my journey. I wouldn't say career, but journey. And it's been scary. It's still scary. I don't know if y'all can tell. I'm pretty sure y'all can tell it's going to be a mess. We might cut this whole thing. When you start something new, it's definitely scary because you don't know. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Having that fear of failure and being perceived by people and scared to be judged by people. I'm here to let you know, girl, everybody in this world has something going on. Don't be afraid to be judged or being perceived, because can't nobody fuck with you. That's it. That's all I have for y'all today, child. If you like this video, or if you like the podcast, if you liked what I was talking about, or if you disagree with me on anything, whether it's Miss Savannah James, her starting her podcast, or if you have different thoughts on my fear of failure or being perceived or being judged, let me know in the comments. But please be light on me, okay? This is my first ever episode. I promise I'm going to do better. I hear all the kiki in the back, but it's okay, because the real bitch, you can't hold a bitch down forever, okay? I'm going to get this in the bag. But to keep up with me in between time, follow me on Instagram at Miss Asia Danielle. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Miss Asia Danielle. Follow us on Instagram at Azii Speaks. That's Speaks with a Z. I appreciate y'all for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.